Right. Welcome to the Durty 20 podcast, where we talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Today we're talking about one shots. The beautiful one shot. I got asked a question. I got asked to make some content on. Nope. Yeah, that's what it was. I got asked to make some content on one shots. I think they were specifically asking for content on story, how to fit the story in, rather, with this short limited time. And then I thought I'd just do a whole podcast on it because I got a lot to say about podcasts. No, I got a lot to say about one shots because I exclusively ran one shots for like 2 to 3 years because my players were cursed with the affliction of adulthood and they have jobs. So do I. So schedules didn't work, so we could play sometimes. So we would just do one shots. And also played a bunch with random people from my girlfriend's work. They wanted to have a go, so we played like a one shot with them. So in the shot, get out of here. Ruining my shots. I'll stay there. So we're gonna I'll start from the beginning. I have a template for one shots. That template is 2 combat encounters and 1 puzzle. That's how I do most of my one shots. It goes combat, puzzle, combat. That's how you do it. There is a reason. You want the game to be super fucking exciting, because it might actually be the only time they get to play. But you want it. You want it to be the most exciting game they've ever played, because they might only get to play it once. So you go combat first and foremost. That's it. I think a general, maybe not complaint, a thing that might get people is a lot of players like standing around and talking to shopkeepers, shopping, shit like that. That's where they find the fun. That's possible. Not possible. That is a thing. And some players don't like that. But I don't think any players doesn't like getting stuff done. Right? Does that make sense? You need to finish the short thing. Like, don't let them stand around and talk for too long. Don't, like, none of that. Speed is the thing we're going for here. So you have 3 rooms. They're super exciting, and we want speed. The 3 pillars. The 3 pillars of the one shot. So the next thing I wanted to quickly mention was the idea of, the idea of a funnel. So a funnel is, I think it's a business term, actually. I guess railroading would be our term. This isn't a question about railroading and sandbox, though. This is a case of one shots. We don't have enough time to do anything but what we came here to do. We are professionals. And we're tight on time. So you want to start them in combat or be 5 minutes away from the combat, get that combat finished, move them immediately on to the puzzle, this is where you kind of let them dick around. Excuse my profanity. This is where you let them fuck around, and they will talk amongst themselves. They'll talk to NPCs if that's the puzzle. They'll question how the puzzle works, and they'll eventually figure it out. And then you move them on to the big climactic, oh my goodness, big fight with big boss or big set piece thing at the end, and then you resolve it with the reward of completing whatever task it was that they went there to do. So their question I got asked was the story. How'd you fit the story in? You cut it out. There isn't a story. The story is a very simple premise. The story is premise. Like, don't die, save this person, get out of here, retrieve this, things like that. Very simple premises that everyone can just get behind, and then the threat of death is the story. And because it's a one shot, it doesn't matter if people die. If they die, the next room they come back. Their character's in the next room. Fuck knows where. They're just in there. If they die in the middle of combat at the very end, if they die, the only time I've changed this rule is if they die at the beginning of the final conflict. So they get through room 1, room 2, they get to room 3, and then they die immediately at the beginning. I've brought them back the next round because they'd be sitting for the whole climax without playing. We're thinking about fun here. This is supposed to be the most exciting, fun thing that that happens to them that day. And then, so us being boring and letting them be boring, because players are basically children. I mean, so are we, really. We're better funded 12-year-olds. But yeah, so we want to get them in and get them excited and get them going quickly. So the 3-room, right? So that's our thing. We've got 3 rooms. You've got speed. Oh god, there's another fucking pillar and I've already forgotten it. It was quite good as well. Speed. I should write these things down. I'm doing it right now. So 3 rooms, speed. And there was another one, but forgotten it. Anyway, 3 rooms can be anything. They can be as simple as like a 3-room dungeon where they walk in. The first room is a combat with goblins. The next room is some sort of contraption they built to keep that door. Some contraption to keep the door shut so the players can't get through. And then the last room is the goblin boss. Right? Very, very simple room. Or you could be as a bit more bigger, where you've got the tavern, and they get attacked at the tavern, and then they have to go find the bandits on the outskirts of the town, and then that's the second room. Sorry, that's the puzzle, would be finding the bandits, and then the last one is the bandit hideout. This is a little bit bigger. And then you can go grander still with days. If you're doing a siege, the first day is the first combat. The first combat, then you skip a day or a few days, and then the second puzzle happens, which is deciding, based on what the enemy's doing, where you're going to go. You're going to go retrieve information from the camp, or you're going to go destroy the enemy artillery. And then that's the puzzle. And then the final bit is destroy. The puzzle is deciding how and where to go and how to get there. And then the final combat is the destroying the thing, and then the battle's won from there. There's some weird examples, but hopefully they made sense. So that's the general concept of the 3-room design. You can put it anywhere, and then the key is to funnel the players to each room. Don't let them dilly-dally. Don't let them talk amongst themselves. Like I said, don't let them shop for too long. Some players like it, but I don't care. Everyone likes finishing the thing. So you want to funnel them quickly. You don't give them a choice. This is where the world funnels them. I guess you are the world, so the world funnels them. The siege example would be a good one because it doesn't need to be a linear corridor. Like if you have the dungeon room 1, dungeon room puzzle, and then dungeon room 3 with a combat, it's just a straight corridor that gets to the room. It's very, you can't fuck it up. The other option in the bigger scenarios is you use something that is time sensitive. Like someone's being kidnapped, or in an hour they're gonna complete the spell. And then how'd you give them the information? That's a whole nother thing. But that's the whole idea. You want to get them moving fast, or you use other NPCs to be like. Let's use the siege example. If they're in the tavern, they're having their 5 minutes of introduction before you do the combat, and then cannonballs or trebuchet ball things. The place gets attacked. The small city gets attacked then and there. Some things fly. Half the building gets blown up, and then they crawl out and they're like, "What the hell's going on?" And there's people running around and screaming. Soldiers just go, all hands on deck, we're going, and then they grab them and they move them right up to the sergeant, who tells them exactly what they need to do. And then that leads them straight to the first combat. Or not to the sergeant. First they go straight to the front line of the wall. They go straight to the wall, and they're fighting the orcs that are attacking, because the orcs are sieging. And then after that, they get taken to the sergeant, who is their puzzle. Or their RP. Sorry, I said puzzle. The puzzle doesn't actually need to be a puzzle. It needs to be something that's not combat. Something to mix up. It could be a RP heavy thing where they get to talk amongst themselves, they get to talk to NPCs, they get to have a bit of a jolly laugh. Or it's a puzzle where they talk amongst themselves trying to solve the puzzle, which is just real life RP. Like the satisfaction they're getting from RP, which is talking in character. You give them a puzzle to solve, they'll talk to each other in the real world, but it's the same. It's equivalent to the same. In this equation, they equal the same thing. Players not doing combat and talking to each other, or you. And then the third room is combat again. The third room is combat again. What was I talking about? Do you want to follow them through the thing? It doesn't need to be a puzzle. It needs to be any of that. It could be anything I just said. Fuck, I completely lost where I was. Funneling them. I think that's what I was talking about. You funnel them. Funnel them to each one. Doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to do it. Because we haven't got a lot of time. We're doing a one shot. You don't have all day. You have, 2 hours maybe? 1 hour? 3 hours? Doesn't matter. One session. You got one session to get things done. And it has to be super exciting because it's the only one they're playing. I think you should prep every session like that. You should prep every session like it's the last one they're ever going to play. Because sessions where you sit around and do nothing, again, like I said, aren't fun. But getting shit done is always fun. So funneling them through, because we're not going to get time. So within the first 5 minutes of sitting down at the table, or you start them in the combat. That's my advice. That's what I think you should do. For beginners, I've done a few beginners. That's what I used the first 5 minutes to give them a sense of what the fucking how this game is played. Where they see something, they ask they get the kind of dynamic down where they ask me some information about the world and then I tell them and they go, oh, okay, can I do this? And then they do it and they're like, oh, okay, so I can do whatever I want and he'll tell me the result. And if I want to know something, I can ask him and he'll tell me. Okay, cool. So I'm in control. Love it. I get to do stuff. I can do whatever I want. And then you attack them and they're like, oh my God, I'm in combat. So it's really, really quick. But I give them that first 5 minutes. Don't worry about rewards. The reward should be completing it because they're only playing a one shot, so it doesn't really matter. But you can give them cool stuff, or you can give them cool items right at the beginning. The first combat, they kill a guy, and then one of them gets a wand that can just blow people up. Once a combat. So they've one free kill, and they're wondering when to use it. Like that's a great thing to give people in a one shot. Don't worry about resource management. Don't worry about food. Don't worry about time. All that stuff is stupid. All that stuff's really dumb in one shots. It's kind of in normal campaigns, but some people like that stuff because you're a bunch of nerds. I don't like that stuff. I don't find it fun, but neither do my players. So we're on this weird. We just get along like 2 peas in a pod, 5 peas in a pod, 4 peas in a pod. But don't do it because it's too long. It takes too long. If you're like, oh, how many arrows have I got? And how can I shoot an arrow here? There's decisions there which can be fun, but it's slow. We don't like that. We hate slow stuff. Don't worry about food. They also. I wouldn't really worry about items, to be honest. They have what they would reasonably have whenever they need it. Even if it solves something in your game, just let it go because we're going for speed. Don't worry about food. Don't worry about time. Don't worry about sleep. Don't worry about the stuff that is for campaigns. Don't worry about it. The other thing was initiative. Get rid of it for the one shot because you're just gaining time back, right? That's the idea. We're getting rid of stuff that gives us time back. Initiatives are one of the things that just get the fuck out of here. Because the good guys go and then the bad guys go. That's what I do. I don't even roll for initiative. I'm just like, you're in, the orcs pop out of the fucking trees and they start attacking you. What are you doing? And then I ask each person what they do in that situation. I don't even roll for initiative. I just say, you go. And then once they all take an action or do a move, you're playing 5e, it's movement, action, bonus action, and anything else they can do. And then I go as the bad guys. I dish out damage, basically. And then they go. And they dish out damage back. And then I dish out damage. That's kind of the whole plot of how I do it. If you want to still roll, take the highest dex. Roll the highest dex on my side, roll, and then the highest dex on the good guy's side. Whoever has the highest dex, they roll. Or whoever's best at rolling, they roll. The bad guys Same idea. Or you just roll a 1d6, whoever gets a higher number. If you want to make it really, really random. So we got all that going on. No more initiative because it slows the game down. Another point. I can't remember. Shit, it was in the thought. Combat. You want to make combat exciting. You don't want to make combat the same combats where they just stand next to each other and just dish out numbers. You want things to be versatile. No. You want some verticality. You want some variety. I can't think of other words. That's what you want. You want the combat to be a bit more something for them. Exciting. Like, exciting is the word. It's a really shit one, but don't be boring. And I know this is the worst one, but it's got to be exciting. It's got to be cool. You know, you have some zombies, but also have one zombie that just explodes. And then have one zombie that picks up a player and runs 20 feet that way into another pack of zombies that never moves. And then now that player is in trouble and the players have to go over there and help him. Like, you want movement. People moving around. Don't worry about players. Just give them cool stuff. Like pushing a zombie off a cliff is cool. Cutting a bridge where the zombies are on is cool. Fighting on a cliff. Fighting in some water. Like, exciting. Give them excitement. Because that's your selling point for the one shot. It's just, wow, things are happening. Because it doesn't matter if people die. And it doesn't matter if it's super powerful and super over the top. So make things vertical, give them some variety and different kind of enemy types. And some enemies can be killed that you don't need to hit a bunch of them. Sorry, you don't need to hit them a bunch to just kill them. They can solve a puzzle. They can jump over the river and then there's a mage or necromancer keeping them all alive. All they need to do is kill that one. Or there is a proverbial button that they just need to go over and press and it will get rid of some of the minions. That could be a magic tome. It could be a riddle to solve. It could be a guy to kill. Like, just, they could go over there and solve it. Give them things to do. Give them things to climb up. Like, think of a vertical space instead of flat ground. All this stuff is very cool. Yes, that stuff is how I do a one-shot. Like, keep things exciting and fast-paced. And that was it. Get rid of the story. What do I mean by that? I don't know if I explained that because I've recorded this twice, so I don't know what I've said and what I've not said. But you gotta get rid of this idea of having a story. You don't. You have... Oh, I'm sure I've said this. You have scenarios. Like, don't die, don't get lost. Things like that. The story will happen. The players, the way they talk to each other, the way they solve the problems, the way they deal with combat, what happened to them in combat, that will create the story. And as long as they, stop the person from dying, save the goat, steal the ship, retrieve the item, whatever it is, save the king, whatever it is they do, that will be the story. You don't want to implement necessarily any arcs. It's just a quick resolution. There is this problem, we solved it, finished. It's not deep. You can't get deep with one-shots. We just don't have the time. My favorite thing is like 4 one-shots, which I guess is 4 sessions. That you can do a lot with 4 sessions. You can do a lot with 5 sessions. You can get an arc in there. But 1 session, absolutely not. You've got no time. Got no time for nothing. But yes. So hopefully this helped. Hopefully this was a good episode. This is again all very new. Trying to get good at giving you guys my ideas in more of a long form content instead of short form. Because I have tons of stuff to say on Dungeons and Dragons. I've got so many ideas. But a lot of them just don't work in 1 minute form. And I'm trying to get better as well at delivering you guys some value. Because I know a lot of you guys are new to Dungeons and Dragons. And there's so much to learn. So leave comments asking me questions. Like, what do you want to hear me talk about? And I will talk about them. I'll try and help you guys as much as I possibly can. And bring you some stuff. But I am trying to get good at this whole talking thing, so I'm trying to not cut out where I fuck up. I'll cut out bits where I sit for a really long time, long stretches of time, trying to remember what I just said. But I'm trying to keep, so bear with me is what I'm getting at. Bear with me. I will be good at this eventually. But anyway, thank you for listening. Hopefully this was informative in some way. It's very short, very cool, but yeah, good job. Thanks for coming by. You're doing well. Huzzah.